Have you ever been in a conversation where no matter what you say, it turns into an argument? Maybe you feel like the other person isn't really listening, or maybe they feel the same way about you. When emotions get high, it's easy for discussions to become conflicts. And when that happens, nobody really gets heard. But what if there was a simple way to have a conversation without conflict while making sure both people feel understood? There's a technique that I use when conversations become difficult, and it's called the 1 minute conversation. It's designed for two people, and the idea is simple. Both parties get the same amount of time to talk, and both people get to feel truly heard. The key is that when one person is talking, the other is only listening. No interruptions, no debating, just listening. Then the listener reflects back what they heard before taking their turn to speak. It starts with both people agreeing to follow the structure. If needed, you can toss a coin to decide who speaks first. Whoever goes first gets 1 minute to say whatever is on their mind. They might talk about a problem they have, something that upset them, or just how they feel about a situation. Their only job in that moment is to express themselves clearly and honestly. The other person's job, however, is simple. They listen, not half listen while thinking about what they're going to say next, but truly listen with the goal of understanding. After the first person finishes their minute, the second person doesn't jump in with their opinion or defense. Instead, they take up to 1 minute to reflect back what they just heard. They summarize what was said and confirm that they understand. This is crucial because it ensures that the first person feels heard before the conversation moves forward. So for example, if someone says, I feel frustrated because I don't feel like my effort is being noticed and I just want to feel appreciated, the other person might respond with, I hear you saying that you're feeling frustrated because you don't feel like your efforts are being noticed and you'd like more appreciation. Did I get that right? This step is important because it helps correct any misunderstandings. If the first person feels like something wasn't quite right, they can quickly clarify before moving on. So once that's done, the roles switch. The second person now has their 1 minute to talk, and the first person listens. When their minute is up, the first person reflects back what they heard in the same way. This back and forth process continues until both people feel like they've reached a good place in the conversation. It might just take a few minutes, it might take longer, but the key is that both people always get their turn and both people always feel heard and understood. This technique works because it slows the conversation down. It keeps emotions from taking over and prevents the usual cycle of interrupting, defending, and escalating. It also stops one person from dominating the conversation, which can often happen when emotions are running high. When people feel heard, they don't feel the need to shout, to argue, or push their point. They become more open, more willing to listen in return, and more likely to find a solution together. One of the biggest reasons conversations turn into conflicts is that people don't actually feel listened to. When someone is upset, they don't always need the other person to agree with them. They don't even always need a solution. Most of the time, they just want to feel understood. They want to know that their feelings and experiences matter. When you use this technique, you're giving the other person that gift, the gift of being heard, and in return, they give it back to you. Another reason this works is that it forces both people to focus on understanding rather than reacting. When you know you'll have your turn to speak, you don't have to jump in while the other person is talking. You can relax and truly listen. And when you know that the other person is going to reflect back what you say, you naturally start to express yourself more clearly. It removes the need for yelling, for frustration, for that feeling of they're just not getting it. Instead, you both get to share your perspective in a way that actually cuts through. It's also a great tool for building stronger relationships, whether it's an intimate relationship, a friendship, a family member, or even a co-worker. When people feel heard and understood, they feel valued. This creates more trust, more respect, and ultimately a stronger connection. Now, if you're wondering whether this feels awkward at first, the answer is yes. It's different from how most people communicate, and it might feel a little unnatural in the beginning at least. But once you try it, you'll see how powerful it is. You'll notice that arguments don't escalate the way they used to. You'll feel less frustration, and you'll see how much easier it is to work through issues when both people feel heard. The next time you find yourself in a conversation that feels like it's heading towards conflict, try this technique. Suggest to the other person that you both take turns speaking for 1 minute at a time and reflecting back what you hear. Make it an experiment and see what happens. You might be surprised at how much smoother the conversation flows and how much better you both feel afterwards. Communication is one of the most important skills in life. It affects our relationships, our work, and frankly, our happiness. Learning how to communicate without conflict is one of the best things we can do for ourselves and the other people around us. The 1 minute conversation is a simple but powerful tool that can help you do just that. Give it a try and see how it changes the way you connect with others. If you often find yourself in conflict situations and would like help with this, visit my website and book a free discovery call, and let's see what's possible.